다 가서 먼저 다 로릭 셰바텔라다 먼저 셰드 다 로릭 듄셰드 모섬 제바 제시 이슈 나라망에바 태섬 록셰 세징 저기 로릭 듄이 야와치셰 난 디니 자당 저기 가서 모섬 다 제바 과지 셰차치 셰네 안디강라 가서 먼저 체마세야들라 제주리 기고네 기부 체마세야다 나 체마세야다 안에 지금 셰바 체마세 숨요레세지 어두세 가서 디 기부 체마다 나 체마 디고시로와다 셰바 체마디 계신님만의 셰세비기 싫어와.
So good morning. Last night we recommenced our study of the text Lorig, Awareness of Knowers, and we're continuing with the diving into the sevenfold division of awareness and knowers. The sevenfold division being direct perceivers, inferential valid cognizers, subsequent cognizers, correct assumptions, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and wrong consciousnesses. So we started last night then by doing a brief review of what we've looked at, and we saw that awarenesses are divided into valid and non-valid cognizers. And then last night we finished with the presentation on terminological divisions of valid cognizers by looking at those valid cognizers that are persons, speech, and consciousnesses. And we saw there that the first two, that of persons and speech, are terminological. It's really consciousnesses that are valid that can be valid cognizers. So we've now concluded looking at the division or the first of the two divisions of awarenesses that are valid cognizers. And now we come on page 10 to non-valid consciousnesses or non-valid awarenesses.
Shit can China Chasang Kembares, Chazan no two said it, Zarkin Mevares, Chazan Kingores, Kemba in the and my Kemba, no two guinea members, how she condition we need to Jimmy how in the and the Temares. And the Tema said, Muslim Tebana, just by Tema said, you need to we need to do Toba in the Della Temarabua, down Toba, the Temarabua. On the nation, that Tema San Jimmy. 유 관대치기네 디모유니수 단신바 지메 지신 상기기 캠바로와 캠바자 상기디 아니 기부 체마세 민다고 김제데 데이제.
Just before we start, just to continue looking at recapping from yesterday, so we saw that an illustration of a valid cognizer that is a person has as an illustration the teacher Buddha. And this is because the Buddha knows all phenomena unmistakably. He knows all phenomena in accordance with reality. There is no error and there is no a limitation in terms of what is known because there's nothing that remains unknown. The Buddha is called an illustration of a valid cognizer that is a speech. And why a valid cognizer? Because a valid cognizer realizes its object. A valid cognizer, whether it's a direct valid cognizer or an inferential valid cognizer, realizes its object unmistakably. And therefore, the Buddha realizes all phenomena unmistakably and can be called a valid cognizer that is a person.
지난다 상계 주면에 이부 체마레 송여도 돈달라 칼로스네 마주게 상계 주면 되기 딱이부 체마 상계 주면 유인의 수치다 신이 킹고레스 지난 캠바인자 상계 주면 되기네 기부 체마레스 지다다 상양도 상계 주면 되기 제수 장바이나 나가주기 아니 상계 주면 되기 유인의 수치다 와지 캠바나 신식 나와서 있네 아나 하고 투르해서 봐도 된장도 상계 주면 되기 labjejawa nawa de jesu zhangje sanye jumnen digi ane semkam bigi ane lobjong zhe ba de langa zu jiangdu de cheba yina ang zu ge duanda de zhu gu le se go wa da de.
And the importance or the purpose, perhaps, the purpose of having such a terminological division of a valid cognizer is so to make it very clear for us as followers of the Buddha that he is a valid person, which means if we train in exactly the way that he has done, we too will be able to achieve those realizations because he knows all phenomena unmistakably. Therefore, he is able to guide his students in a perfect and unmistaken manner. In other words, in a manner in accordance with their individual personalities.
Lorig Session, that's some camera buggy, yes, she go by some camera. Then I'll Carasene, the Digi Druya, Dunga Segi, and the Setan, the Tablam D, that Jidang, Jugi Chi, Twinkin, the trading Tony, Digi Druya, and the Dunga Sea, Murdi, and Lula, then begin Dunga Sea, Digi Druya, there's a mother, Tata, Tuma. Just a Dangazuga, Dunga Zawan, Meva, and Digi Dingi, Tobiaki, Tablam the Yakshoting on Zugi, same country with Tony, similar Jang Dorje, same kind of Jebache. Same Tony Drubaina, and then Digi Dingi or Druya, and the Dunga Dingi to say to Yagi and to Yungores. She's a D Tablam D, San Yujim Nendiki, same Yamnenja, Gom Japtang, and the same Gary Meva Suku, same Gary Yamso, Manzu Yamnenchi Kugore, Yagetam Kugore, Digo Sugorba.
As was also mentioned last night at the beginning of my talk, the topic of Lorig is the topic of psychology from a Buddhist perspective. And the reason that it is so important is as all beings want to experience lasting, stable happiness free from any form of suffering or unhappiness, we need to develop skillful techniques, the most skillful of techniques, to achieve this. So in our world, we already have many techniques to achieve happiness and overcome problems, but these are primarily or mainly focused on the material world and making our lives a bit easier through material development. Psychology, of course, though, is focused on our inner worlds, on our inner development. So here, in order to actually achieve lasting, stable happiness, we can't rely on changing our outer world. We have to transform our inner world. This is where lasting, stable happiness is achieved and is experienced. Therefore, the purpose of studying psychology is to understand our inner world well, and thereby, with this understanding, in conjunction with the other trainings, we'll be able to be more skillful in cultivating the virtuous minds that need to be adopted, and more skillful in abandoning and eliminating the non-virtuous minds, the afflicted minds, that need to be eradicated. Lobsang Dorje Bendigo Nacho Jampa Jan Yongana and the Kiwood Kiwu Mindula Haya Soa Duma Ski, which is a Soa Duma Koron, Kiwood never Duma did it, that's what Duma the race was, so what Yungu was. This Soa Duma did Soa Duma, she's on the Kiwu made Duma said did it. Then I think Galana Soa Chili do a D, there was a did it, she's not Soa said
먼저 대화다 동화서 레어도 남사 소화디 동화다 대화 소기우 소비기 예수디 하고 두고 왔다. 근데 이게 롭좀 마셔봐이나 기부도 대부도 세대 기부도 소화 리거도 있나 거기 인바 동화서 두고 바로 왔다. 동화서 두고 봐. 세상 안쪽에도 쓰는 로릭다 나셔도 모르 제 냠뇨 제어도 되는 안쪽에 땅 안에서 차상하고 땅 안에서 기부도 세다 막 기부면들 라면 남사 소화 동화시키어도 어디 기부면데 기부 매바디 소화 동화디 그래 땅아 기부도 기부디 소화 대화들에 세비하고 두고 그러다 진짜 이게 안쪽에 장도를 제비기 다 준비로디 뭐 쳐지 하고 뭐좀 투야디 차고로 와
Generally, when people greet each other, we ask the other person, "How are you?" And then they'll respond with, "I'm happy," or "I am unhappy," something like that. Now, generally in the world, we would leave it at that. But if we have some concern, we may say to the person, "Oh, I'm really pleased that you're feeling so happy today," or "I'm concerned that you are not happy today." Where is this feeling of happiness or unhappiness being experienced? Sorry, not where is this feeling. Where is this happiness or unhappiness? Where is it being experienced? And as soon as one delves a little bit deeper like that, this surprise will be received. The person, and that's because people are not so used to thinking about, actually, what is this happiness? What is suffering? Where is it? Is it something physical or material? Or is it something non-material? So generally in the world, this is not something that people think about. And if we don't really understand what is meant by happiness and suffering, then we are at quite a disadvantage in terms of achieving lasting, stable happiness, being able to eradicate suffering in a truly effective manner. Because if we don't understand the basis well, it's very difficult to achieve this ambition that we have, this wish we have for lasting happiness. Those who have studied Buddhist psychology, those who have studied the Buddha Dharma well, will immediately be able to recognize what is happiness, what is suffering. Because they will have come to understand through the presentation of Lorig that happiness and suffering refers to a feeling of happiness, a feeling of suffering, or to translate that differently, a pleasant sensation or an unpleasant sensation. This is what is meant by happiness or suffering. But to come to understand this, even on an intellectual level, is not something innate. One needs to acquire knowledge. And one needs to understand this knowledge. One needs to have, at the very least, an intellectual understanding to know this. But in order to realize this, one needs to have a deeper intellectual understanding and reflect on it. So those who do study Buddhist psychology well and have this as a basis to integrate with their Buddhist practice, they will have far greater awareness of their inner workings, of their mental processes. And with this basis, they will be able to much more effectively develop virtuous minds, eliminate non-virtuous minds or the afflicted minds. So this is the purpose for studying Lorig.
차비게 렉자하고 건 소화티 다니 차비 동화디 세고 와당 차비 동화들이 지상 이 소화디기 유디 가르친 것은 유라 나주기 장외 렉자의 숙침부여디 코하고 증거를 와다 지상 장외 렉자 숙침부지 그 진용도 유디 장외 렉자의 그 유디 장외 렉자 차되래 지상 그 장외 렉자의 숙치를 와도 소화디 연구를 하고 거래 하고 된 안쪽에 막 차기도 쓰고 와다 지상 that those things Lorig Session the share my child to let the child the caress to do my child to my said Janui Raja Novi to my so it is. Digi got how Google send Sosugu Sulia and Supulia and to finish Star Chu Melung to Hero, Joashina, Janui Raja, Shuksher Jova, the Hago, 지상 그에 가서 장외래 제 진디고 이 장외래 제 휴체로도 참은용 바제 베네 죄될래 장외래 휴체로도 과하고 지상 딜람상 소와디 동아디 캬비 동아용고 지상 도 지단은 좀 캬비 동아용도에 세디 가르래라는 캬비 동아 하고 소와디레스 지상 소와디게 가라하고 그것은 나주 수불이야 장외래 제 휴체로 와다 하고 그래서 당아도 로릭 장외도 유대 유진에서 자유배 니네서 하고 디나시 아다가 차와칙도 세데 차와칙비 동아도 세데 동아디 가서 소와디래랑 차위 제상 아주 줄리야 차위 자체의 휴체로도 먼저 소와디가 하고 그래 제상 소와다 하고에도 소와디 하고에도 먼저 가서 온가 차와칙도 라고 동아이게 제상 초위 자체들이 니게 가르 유가르 하고 그러서는 초위 자체디 그 휴체 죄기 자체의 휴체로 가지고 하고 제상 그 유가르 지고서 죄의 증거로 와 죄의 자자 죄의 증거래 죄의 자자 증거래 내 디용거래 제가 디니스도 하고 제가 먼저 나야 배능아도 사랑 연부 칸이 코인 연부 이거도 먼저한테 두불에 대라라죠 긴기플라라죠 디 가르서는 디 초와디다 대우도세 초와디 초와래야디 니기 유 가르 증거래서는 자자 찬용받은 진리고 자자 아주 사랑도 유기 자자 찬용받은 진리고 와 제산 찬용받은 지도 아니 콜이야 초와디야 찬용받마도 초와 휴치지 이거 봐 제산 디니 장아서 초와디래 어떤 아니 디에 이제 자기민도 디 차서민도 기부도 남시 기부도 해야지 디 차고 와 제산 디니게 주디 초와디 차상서 제산 유디게 누수 소소서 제산 아주 로릭 장도 제산 대화다 둥아다 디네하고 디디레스야 돼. 안디게 유가를 가르친 걸 디디디는 증거를 해. 디네스 샤사디 하고 두고 와.
We saw right at the outset of this text that the very first division of Lorig is into objects and object possessors. So through understanding the topic of, or the subject of Lorig, one understands objects and that which possesses those objects very well. So for example, if one is a little bit cold, one would say, I am feeling cold, or I am cold. And usually in the world, that's where it's left. But here, if we understand the process, if we understand Lorig well, we'll understand the process of dependency. So, and through that, we'll understand ourselves better. Because independence on the coldness, on coming into contact with cold, then a feeling or a sensation of unpleasantness or suffering arises. And here, we therefore say we are feeling cold. So, or to put that in a little bit more detail, independence on coming into contact with the tactile object of coldness, we give rise to the suffering feeling notably from the cold, or the unpleasant sensation from this coming into contact with the tactile object of cold. So this is this process of dependency. Through coming into contact with an object, in this case a tactile object, we give rise to the sensation, the unpleasant sensation, which is a suffering feeling. So those who've studied Lorig and objects and object possessors will understand this well. And they'll understand the contrary situation, that if we are too hot, it's because we've come into contact with the tactile object of heat, and in dependence on this, again, a suffering feeling has arisen. And therefore what we need is somewhere in between, to come into contact with a tactile object that is neither too hot or too cold, that is just right, and thereby we will give rise to a feeling that is not suffering, but as a feeling of happiness or a pleasant sensation. So this inner process, this inner workings, to understand it well, one needs to understand psychology. And this is the purpose of studying objects and object possessors, or the purpose of studying Lorig.
대화다 동아시아의 초와인 바하고야 디 유가르가르 바하고야 데 만주기 다 로릭 잡이기 대하고 진짜 유디 대화다 동아시아디 그런 거 뭐도 하고 그런 거 유디 가르친 거 하고 봐이나 나만주기 될야 안에 동아리들이 진짜 동아리 유가르에서 또 유디 제바제 진짜 동아리 매바 야 동아리는 시켜도 될야 고탑제에게 탑람 가르에서디 만주기 네스 시투고로 ben에 다대가 저기 남긴 가족에다 지가 수림 송고고래 서버 공고래 전송고래 시그마다 달로이 거디지 시고 말와다 지 가서 시에서디 로리 디니마다 장 살비가 하고 보기 시샤로 시시고 와 난 저기 시에도 ben에 가르소래 저기 콩로 사용도 안에 가서 ben에 콩로 세디 가르치리 오서는 유현지의 미고 미체 안 될래 미드비 나바로 기고로 왔다. 그 대화면 봐. 콩로세디 파주들 미드바데 기고로. 진짜 디 기어디 콩로레스 배나가 디다 유디 콩로세 셈ля 배퍼기 미드바를 시에디 콩로세. 콩로세. 디 미드바기에디 아니 디 기엔제네 아니 파주 미드바에서 유디 파주 유디 다 가사 미디어바로치 가사티나 유디 가사차 이네 지산 다데네요 콘트로디 시에게 탑람데라 가르고고레 세능하는 중에 상점인데 가르송 거서 데네기 파조딜레 가사데라 마가베 나바 끼어도 미디어바데 끼어도 디 메바 소야데 가르제고레 랍나 파조 미딜이야 가와 공부를 해지와다 그래서 파조 미딜레 빼 가와 잠바는 째워 가와 공부 있나 잠제 공부 있나 파조 미딜레 가불이고 가위 셈지 슈체리고 지난 가요에서 슈체레어도 파저 미딜레 먹어와 밑에다 미디베 삼로디 슈충투고라 제가 저기 콘도 세야데 되는 콘도 디기 가르치고라서는 유용한 미질레 콘도 사와이나 내가 유디 가르서 미시 미디레스 콘도 세야데 소삼나라 페디 미디게 마가와 델라다 막 자되게 델라 데범베 나바디 콘도 시기로 와다 제가 디메바 가는 소고레 세데 파저 유텔라 잠바다 째와 잠바단 제와 공매도 디 마게베 넘버 삼로디 마슈충부고 해야지. 제가 콘로기여도 콘로 고야게 탑람다 내가 탑람라 하는도 잠제 공부를 해야지 소리하다. 다 되는 사보나 제가 자원에 매바 소야데 간에 sö고래라나 제가 콘로기 규자와데 갈래 세데 나세베 나라 신주바 짐바데 리고래 디마바나 디방고래 디방샤바나 고자와나 가매바 소야지나 콘로세 기야기는 말해서 제가 따라하신 말하신 마주바 세데 맞아 다음에 봐 동의도 비셔라 공부래 디 공부에는 제가 다신 방투그래 딘제 방투그래 세지 디숑고 제가 디네게 먼저 삼롱 멤버들이 매바 소야기 탑람들에 두수 세고래 세데 산이게 소야디 다 디기 좋다 디숑고로 와
네 근데 디탐데데 다학생 대콜이 한klassen
제가 콘로기에 규자와데 다진 레제 다신 매바 소가 자와데 매바 소네 디네 콘로기네 예요 말했어 자와 다신 자와 매바 소야데 간스 소고래 람나 잠제 공부하자니 수투고 말이지나 다음에 또 동이 또 비셔라 공제 안에 매바 소고래 사실 시고로 와
What we've heard here then is that the purpose of studying psychology is so as to have a more solid basis, perhaps you can say a more solid basis, to understand the workings of our mind and thereby be able to be more successful in our striving to achieve happiness and eliminate the causes of suffering. So generally when we hear Buddhist teachings, we hear about what is ethical restraint, for example, or what is generosity, what is patience, and then how to cultivate and train in these, develop these minds within us. And if we think of Buddhist practice, we would have heard that Buddhist practice means transforming your way of thinking, transforming your mind, and how to do so is through meditating on topics, meditating based on knowledge on topics such as ethics and generosity and so forth. This is generally how we understand the Buddha Dharma. And this is also how it is taught in the great monasteries. But there it is taught on a basis of the students already having come to a good understanding of topics such as Lorig. Because through having this basis of psychology of Lorig, one then understands the inner workings well and can be more successful in developing the virtuous minds and eliminating their contrary afflicted minds. So, for example, when we talk about the afflicted mind of anger, so this is an object possessor, it's an awareness. And being an object possessor, it possesses an object. The mind of anger has arisen in dependence on an object and an object possessor. That object will be either a person or perhaps a situation. It will be something that one wants to repel, one wants to separate oneself from. And so, wanting to be separated from this object, we have this mind of anger which serves that purpose. So here we have an object and an object possessor. And then the Buddha taught not only this process, but then the various techniques. So this is where we generally come in with our understanding of Buddhism, the techniques to deal with anger. But here we're starting to form a stronger foundation of understanding this relationship of independence on an object. There is an object possessor. Then the Buddha teaches how to deal with this. For example, either separating oneself from the object that independence upon which anger has arisen, or transforming that object possessor from a mind of anger rather into a mind of, say, loving kindness. So that towards a situation or a person that often anger arises, develop a feeling of love for that person, or a gentleness or a different way of approaching that situation. So here, the Buddha taught to either separate oneself from the object or to transform the object possessor. Moreover, the Buddha taught that if one really wants to deal with this situation in the most effective manner, one needs to get to the root cause and look in great detail at the object possessor, or delve down into the depths of awareness to see what the root cause is. And that is the ignorance of self-grasping. It's from the ignorance of self-grasping, that independence on the ignorance of self-grasping, as well as an object, anger comes. And the Buddha thereafter also taught the greatest of all antidotes, the wisdom realizing emptiness. So hopefully through what I've just said here, becomes very clear the great benefit of understanding Lorig well, or understanding Buddhist psychology well. Because we understand the inner workings of our mind far better, we therefore will be even more effective, more skillful in cultivating virtuous minds and eliminating afflicted minds.
지상다 다음에 또 배셔라 곰 세대 당한주 당보 지상 다 다음에 또 오래라고 봐. 또 하나 가지 또 그렇다. 뭐 제바진도 고 다당한 변에 다음에서 계시요. 당한주 당보만주 최결로 좀 기니 맞으면 다음에 뭐 공부를 쓰 다음에 봐서 갈라고 왔으면 폰 낙tum치마도 가요. 막 신고만. 지상도 지난 담만주게 이게 최년제 다음에 그 망보 녀도 근데 신의 아주길래 태좀 키워. 어때? 다음에 봐서 직직스고 간에 지다지 간에 연나 매나 간에 지나서 비게 다시니 태좀 기워 다가서 로릭 눈안에 태좀 살리고 뭐 질리기로 지난 로기요 당봉가서 다음에 봐 다음에 제바네 당봉 태좀 기워 다음에 봐 간에 연나면 태좀 기워 다도 지난 가족이 한 다음에 다들 그 생에 막아도 땡땡 받아 되는 시비 겁이야 다음에 갈세 땡지야 그 다세대 가와도 맞을 간에 난기도 나와나 누에 미도 제바제도 그 가슴 질려 태솜도 봐 되었으면 어떤 유기 태솜 써야 돼. 오다 다음에 가서 다시 여살에다 서디 인스 여살에다 서비게다 다음에 봐서 예비게 삼로들 휴체를 주고 그래. 진짜 여살에다 서디 대소양 태솜 된 유기 태솜자. 니네 가슴 질려 김전 제제제 바제바제 오다 다음에 봐도 누 체마를 마기번 제바 마기번이라 제바 체마 해서 타주비 체마 마기냐 제바 오다 다음에 누 선배 통야 지운 거다. 대디 태좀 말아. 다음에 누 선배 삼로실리고 디 이주에서고 가서 대디 제리기로 이주에서 그래. 제가 당보 태좀 다음에 봐래 태좀게 디제라 다음에 봐 통비 이주기 되네 이주디 되네 람사 오다 다음에 받아 두 선배 타주베게 참아지기여도 될 제바 참아세 다디 다음에 받도 배 제바 참아세 그래 지나다 다음에 받 당보도 배 참아디다 당보도 요도 제바 참아랍제 다디네 나 도와산다 아주 공부 유균을 루로 제시해서 그래 제시 어디양 두세 다음에 받도 로디 공부 제시에 공부 가삼 찍려 다음에 받도 온숨도 또 요도 온숨이 참아서 뭐 주고 제가 나중 온숨세 차르고 제가 도시네 나중에 좌상으로 되는 두고 그런다
For those who haven't studied Buddhism, when they hear that the root of all our suffering is the ignorance of self-grasping, and that the antidote to eliminate this is the wisdom realizing selflessness of persons, this is just a collection of words devoid of any meaning. And without those words having any meaning, it will be impossible to come to any realization of them, because one has no understanding, no basis. So therefore, to meditate on the selflessness of persons in order to eliminate the ignorance of self-grasping without any understanding is pointless. So therefore one has to gather knowledge, and through gathering knowledge and reflecting on what one is studying, first some doubt will arise. So we looked at this often in the presentation on dependent arising, when we looked at J. Rinpoche's text a year ago. There, the first instruction was independence on understanding what is meant by true existence, then come to see how the self appears, and then investigate whether the self exists in the way that it appears. And it's here that we start to utilize, in the sevenfold division of Lorig, the awareness of doubt. So we start with this doubt. Does the self exist in the way that it appears or not? So doubt is something we haven't come to yet, and it's a few pages' time. So we'll look at that in some detail. But this is how one uses Lorig in one's meditation. Does the object exist in the way that it appears or not? In this part of the meditation, one does repeatedly over a sustained period. Eventually, one will come to understand that the self does not exist in the way that it appears. And as that understanding grows ever more certain within oneself, one gives rise to another of the sevenfold division of Lorig, correct assumption. And when we give rise to a correct assumption, understanding that the self does not exist in the way that it appears. It's empty of existing in the way that it appears. We develop, again, through repeatedly meditating in this way, we eventually come, in dependence on a correct reason, to inferentially realize that the self is empty of existing in the way that it appears. And this is where we give rise to an inferential valid cognizer. So we've gone from doubt to correct assumption, and now to an inferential valid cognizer. So here we give rise to the first of the two types of valid cognizers. And then again, through continuing this meditation process, we eventually remove the veil of the meaning generality and come to a direct realization of the self not existing in the way that it appears, of it being selfless, of it being empty of existing truly. And this direct perception, the very first moment, is a direct valid cognizer, in particular, a yogic direct valid cognizer. So this is the process that meditators will go through. First doubt, then eventually correct assumption, through continued training, eventually an inferential valid cognizer, and then eventually a yogic direct perceiver. And in order to be able to aid or to speed up one's progression here, understanding Buddhist psychology is an essential foundation.
나 되는 게 체민이 로 시에도 다 체마 다 그생각도 다 체마 세다 체민이 로 세다 다 체마 세도 유 도용的당보 도 비로的来체마 세 나 되는 게 유 당보 도 뭐 많이 비로 차상 되는 게 유 당보 도 한 많이 비기 다 로간의 시내 되라 체민이 로 체마 많이 비로 라고 다 이거 저 체마 많이 비로 체민이 로세 체마 많이 비로 뒤고 마셔야 된다.
Now let's start on page 11, because we've concluded the looking at valid cognizers. The valid cognizers, you remember, were defined as a new incontrovertible knower. So it's new, incontrovertible, and it's a knower, a consciousness. Now we see the definition at the top of page 11 of a non-valid cognizer, or non-valid consciousness, a knower that is not newly incontrovertible. So I'll offer an alternative translation, which is maybe, to me anyway, a bit clearer. A knower that is not both new and incontrovertible. So it's a knower that is not both new and incontrovertible. This is a consciousness that is not valid.
Chema said certain milu ripa le chema certain milu ripa chema just chema de la sardu yu sa to ba da ani milu yi ba ni ga chang de ripa de le chema la ko ba da ma yu de dang bo to ba yu ben yu de dang bo jin ba je ani de dang ha ko ba to ba dang bo to bi ripa de le she ba de le chema la ko ba da chema ma yin ba la yu de yu de dang bo dang ane milua niga tuge 가서 계제 니가 마상에게 리버텔라 다 가서 체민이 로와서 시는 거다.
Again, the definition of a valid cognizer is a new incontrovertible knower. There are these three criteria: that it's new, it's incontrovertible, and it's a knower, realizing consciousness, or apprehending consciousness, perhaps. So that's for a valid consciousness. For a non-valid, then these are not fulfilled. So we have a knower that is not both new and incontrovertible. So when a knower, a consciousness, is not both new and incontrovertible, it is non-valid.
Dadi esati milurikba mayimberikba sede chemilu chingi dadi yewal ma sha de dinale de san ga zhe sen pa ye yu de kyewa chen yu andela Geshe Yijue na lama e ba te zum lo shi sede odisen nga yo re chi ba da.
We see it's divided into 5 subsequent cognizers, correctly assuming consciousnesses, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubting consciousnesses, and wrong consciousnesses.
제가 그 생각도 로릭 뒤인라고도 무슨 제바 제시 안에가 소리 가서 나라 이주 나라면 계속 로시 자기 뒤요로 디나레다 무슨 세리시 제바 세리시 제가 세마 무슨 세마가 제바 세마 이디 야시 차로데 딜하망아딜다 세명이 로시 다들 딜하망아딜와 제시 제 이주 나라면 계속 로시가디 디가서 로릭 뒤나네 하망아디 차려요.
The sevenfold division of Lorig. Of those 7, we've looked at 2, direct perception and inferential valid cognition. So those 2 we've looked at. Here now we come to the remaining 5. Subsequent cognition, correctly assuming consciousnesses, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubting consciousnesses, and wrong consciousnesses. So these are the remaining 5 of the sevenfold division of Lorig.
아디나데 예왕안안에 당주 지시세디 유도고고 지시디랑 유도고고 밀루아레 지시세디 근데 지시기 당보로와 나 당보니 도선 도비 리바라기도 도선 지시세디 뭐것은 도선 도비 리바라고 그러지 지사 지시디기 도선 도비 리바세디 랑 유도고레 지사 지시디 유도고레 안다 유도고로 거 유레 밀루아로와 지사다 가르 말에서는 sardo to ba de mares jesan ko chemi chema mares kasan yudo worde chema de la yul gar gosun to ba ma se dangbur to ba chu gore jesan to ba je dangbur to ba se chen yu ki chen yi chen gore jesan ji xie de yudo gore ki ji chen gore 갈 창고 말선 스타로 당보 똑바세 창고 말 대정고 참아 말해야지 시고 저도 이주해야지 가서 지시해야지 유도고 어디네 유 당보 똑바 말해 대정고 참아 말해야지.
Let's then start to look at the first of these 5 non-valid cognizers, that of subsequent cognizers. So we see here the definition, a knower that realizes what has already been realized. So this is the first of the 5 non-valid cognizers. So it fulfills the definition of a non-valid cognizer, with the definition of the non-valid cognizer being a knower that is not both new and incontrovertible. So it is a knower, and it realizes it's incontrovertible and it's not new. So therefore it fulfills the definition of a non-valid cognizer, but it of course does not fulfill the definition of a valid cognizer. The valid cognizer has 3 characteristics, of which a subsequent cognizer only fulfills 2. A subsequent cognizer is a knower, and it's incontrovertible, but it's not new, being subsequent. So therefore it only fulfills 2 of the 3 characteristics of a valid cognizer, and therefore is a non-valid cognizer, because it is not both new and incontrovertible. It is incontrovertible, but not new.
당보 똑바신 뭐 유도만 또바나 유도비 리바이나 참아래 마도 유도바 코로 유도비 리바딜레 참아라기를 마도 당보 똑바다 니버 똑바 켜바셔고 말해서 진짜 니네 부수도 보지 깔래 제고 말해라고 ten유비 그래서 유코로 또비 르딜라 참아라기를 마도 살도 똑바디레 니바 또는 뛰어 유는 뭐 차나네 참아 말해라요 말해서 진짜 유코로 또비 리바딜라 밀루와장 참아래라고 해제 지나디 tenjubi sonare da dine ma chama de le yu de tangbro to ba ane milua yimba to ba je de yang tangbro to ba se di ane ripa se di kugure se di de de ba da sem zam ba da rang ju bi ge she da de
Prasangika don't quite accept this definition. So this definition is accepted by the Sautrantika, Chittamatrans, and the Svatrantika. Prasangika don't accept that subsequent cognizers are non-valid. They say they are valid cognizers. They say the first, second, and all subsequent moments, as long as it's the object is realized by a knower, by an awareness, it is a valid cognizer. So the definition of Prasangikas will not accept what is written here, because they say that a subsequent cognition, as it is a knower and it realizes the object, it is incontrovertible, it is a valid cognizer. So this definition is asserted by Sautrantikas, Chittamatrans, and Svatrantikas.
다 제가 마와이나 아니 양지기 리과인 거야 인지미지 참아들 리과인 거 말해서 가서는 참아들 리과 여러 수야 여러 가서 미기 옹보디기 숙도 버려서 지사 미기 옹보디 아니 숙통의 미기 옹보디 참아래라고 하는 저게 지사디 셰바 말 리과 말 지사 참아들 인지미지 리과인 거 말해서는 제가 뭐 손하디 야 근데 참아들 리과 여러 리과 많이 수야 여러 이가 여러서 지사 dine zada sadu milu riba sada sadu milu mai be riba jago goya di garasne jira ma sunga di taba mare se gorda de pada semjam bada marangi bati ka se sheba se ade yu to be chema senada ani chishe la ne riba ingu gore ma sheba jingu ma do sukjen di chema da chishe chayo mare jisan jira ma wa mi ongbo di sukdo gore se ade di sukse mi ongbo di chema mare jisan chema mare di kaya ki tondala how di maimba how hoya ki tondala injimiji ripa se chago be gimsendire.
The reason that the word knower needs to be and is inserted in this definition is because those Buddhists who ascribe to the tenets of the Vaibhashika, they hold that a valid cognizer isn't only a knower or an awareness. It can be the physical sense powers, such as the eye sense power. An eye sense power, according to the Vaibhashikas, can or does realize its object. So therefore, the non-Vaibhashikas insert a knower, the term knower, into their definition so as to refute what is presented by the Vaibhashikas.
Sardu milu riba said Semi Koshe, Sardu milu riba said Tonvena, Odadi, Sardu milu riba, Odadi, Dodepa, the Semzamada, Rajuvi Sunta de Reshas, or Konzugiti, Devarus, Deshas and Belam Saha to it. And Semi Kosh, the Milu, Sardu milu, Malabaji, milu riba, Semare, and milu riba, and Denigi, Geshe, Odadi, or that milu riba, Semare, milu riba, Sungwa. But this one that Pashida, that Tenyu Reshas. Is Semare, gas and Migi Ombodi, Suktuore, or Migi Ombodi, Suktobi, Suktuor, the Semare, say shared the 60 turn or the Jerama Sona Shasabi, or the Jerama with Tubashi, the Sambiki, then the sick Koronga, then the Lamsa, or the Jerama with Tubasumdo, the Ranjuba, the Semsaba de Sumdo, the Tenjuba de Basum, Sambiki, Damazuga, Sikorona Dene, I never called how to a Chagor.
Konta Chedema, Konso Tseni, Sadu Milua, Sadu Dang Milua Deniha.
That Konsugi mixes Sadu Milua said, Missy, that Chinese share Martin, now from the Sadu Milua said, Ajele Konoji this year, Utopa said, Milua, in Jimmy Chicago, Malasi, share at Chagor.
There's several reasons that it's important there's several reasons that it's important to understand these distinctions, because when you're reading a text or you're hearing a teaching, it's important to understand from which perspective the Buddha Dharma is being presented, because some texts or some oral teachings will be presented from one or another philosophical point of view. So if one hears that a valid cognizer is a new incontrovertible knower, then you'll know that, okay, what I'm hearing here is not from the point of view of the Prasangika, it's from the Sautrantika, Chittamatra, or Svachantika. So therefore, because it's not being presented from the Prasangika view, it will have some differences from what I've heard. And likewise, if one hears that not only an awareness, but also a sense power can realize an object, then you know that this teaching or this text is presented from the perspective of the Vaibhashika. And similarly, if one hears that a valid cognizer is an incontrovertible knower, then you know this teaching, this text, is composed or presented from the perspective of the Prasangika. And thereby one can understand better what is being said and see it in its true perspective, or its intended perspective.
And that Geshe Thubten Rabten said, Simbi Dobe Riba said, the large Geshe like this, the Chronozuki, Jeramo, Kazutodia Bada, Semzam Bada, Moranjubi, Geshe said, Tema Maybe, Tema Loss go and that. You got a cheers, call no more kind of race and doesn't to be riba said, doesn't to be riba. Now on the doesn't to be riba said, like Geshe like the Echira. Then on the doesn't to be riba, and Gares, sick the Lacanacus and doors in land, door Chawas, door Chawa, and the Topa said, the Yamachi door charge, Yanja door to Vendilla, Geshe to Urach Kugura on the Dusine, that doesn't to be riba, said that Garson Geshe said, the Shah to Konosugi.
Returning then to subsequent cognizers. So what is meant by a subsequent cognizer? What is its entity? And that its entity is presented in the definition, a knower that realizes what has already been realized. So there are several key points here, such as it's a knower and it realizes. But the third key point is the tense. It realizes what has already been realized. hence subsequent, something that has previously been realized.
다가래라는 빼내가 저기 붐바토비기 미기 시바 깨지 당보데 참아레스 붐바토비 미기 시바 깨지 니바디 지시에스라고 와다 지상 붐바 당보도게 미기 시바 깨지 당보디 붐바 당보도 바레 거 당보도 바레스 지상 거 참아레지 다 붐바토비 미기 시바 깨지 니바디기 붐바토고 올때 그 붐바다 당보도야 말 가서 깨지 당보디 당보 깨지 당보 또 차이기 제라 그 분바 또 되어지 지상 또선 또 비리 바로 그 당보 또가 말가서 그런 게 깨지 당보 되기 분바 니를 또 차래서 또 차완자 또 차와디 그 양게 그 두고 그래 지상 니자 분바 분지미기 깨시니 바디 또선 또 비리 바래라도 가래 또선 또 비리 바래서 그 분바 두고 그래 분바디 또 심바지리에서 수또 심바래서 미기 시바 깨지 당보 되기 또 심바 또 차와래서 For
example, if we see a material object such as a vase, then the very first moment that we see this vase, then that awareness is a sense direct valid cognizer. It's the very first moment, being new, it is a valid cognizer. But the second and subsequent moments of that realization, of realizing that object as a vase, these are no longer being new. They are there. The cognizer is now subsequent, but the object is still being realized. So we have here a knower that realizes. So it's still realizing the object, but that object has already been realized because now we're in the second and subsequent moments. It's no longer new.
That doesn't do be reversed in this level. Korongi, Sema Shanda, Rangle, Shembi, Sema Shanda Chigi, Do Tambo Do, Diches of Korongi, Do Patella, doesn't be reversed. And then that Migi Sheba, then Shabakis Tambo Chadroa, Chitan Korongi, Migi Shebakis Tambo Digi, Pumba, the Migi Shebakis Tambo di Pumba Do Saje, and Dichela Kisnibati, Do Divanzane, doesn't be reversed. It's not doesn't be reversed. That
the key point then here to remember is that first, a subsequent cognizer is a consciousness, and it's a realizing consciousness, but it realizes what has already been realized, not newly. It doesn't realize something new. And we can relate this to the various consciousnesses, but again, it's something that we see, then the subsequent realizations of that object are no longer new, but are subsequent, hence subsequent cognizers.
And Midigi, Dambodo, and the Hindon Tonsarova, Kotosarova. That could Migi Shindo to Migi Shebadi, Carson Samareva. That Jelan has a mission dash to Urua. Now to Migi Shebadi, Shindo Tongrua. Sinang to Migi Shebadi, Geshe Thubten Carson Sama Shandachi, Do Say, Jela Dobaras, Carson near to her Midigi Tonsares. Chesa, Quay Samadi near Tonring, Migi Shebadi, Jel Tonre. Chesa, Migi Shebadi, Samadi. Migi Shebadida, Shingdon to Migi Shebadi, Sama Maribes, the Chishi Leves, some dozen to be repaired was. Dozen to be repaired, Migi Garrison, the Genial to him mitigate to Simbari, Tingy Dopares. Is that the Chishi Leves, that Chishi Leves, the Chishi Maroho, Sabatomar was called Samadine, Samar was. Is not the Chishi dozen to be repaired and the Tigi Mindus. Kira Chishi gets in said, dozen to be repaired, Chishi Lamna, Tigi Mindus. Garrison. Meaning, you do need Chignel to a Chichel to Dambodi to Asare, Chesan, Niba Yoman to Migi Shepherd, Chasan Chishi Lavager, Semaguni Man Charu, Chesan, the Chishi Charu to a Dinan doesn't to be ripa, down Sema Shandachi, Dambo to, then Sema Lush Shandachi, Niba to handle Chishi Laguna, Chesan, Dambo Migi Tong, Niba Mitong and get one shade Chishi Lavager. Then the Jiggy Miduas, Chesan doesn't to be ripa, Chishi, Tenisha, Jiggy Midus, the Nigi, and some of the Bichevachine, Guru.
Some people look at this definition and say, there's a mistake here. this definition cannot be complete. For example, if two people are walking, one ahead of the other, the first person will see a tree, and their first moment of seeing that tree will be a direct valid cognizer, and they will walk past that tree. The second person will follow a few moments later and see that same tree, which has already been realized by the first person. So that person then, when they see that tree for the first time, that is a tree that has already been realized. So therefore, the first moment of that second person seeing the tree has to be a subsequent cognizer, because it is a knower that realizes what has already been realized. So some people will raise a doubt like that about this definition.
Bendigo 당보지 참아 현다지 또 차지 디젤 또 받을 또선 또 올라와네 현안 셰바디 덴바레스 가서 미치기니를 또 차래 니바저 참아 미기 셰바디 참아 말이라고 차기です디 현안 셰 덴바레스 디 니라 또선 또 발라지 당보 참아지 또 디젤 또 받자면 디잠나 또선 또 발라기 말이스 다 또선 또 봐서 된다 시 로즈 셰요 그래서 다 또선 또 봐서
Those who then assert the definition as we see it here, the Sautrantika, Chittamatra, and Svatrantikas, they will say, well, I understand what you say and it makes some sense. That is not what we mean here by this definition.
다 기지 미기셰베 기지 니바디기 신도토야 미기셰 기지 니바 지셰래라고 그래. 제상고 도선 똑바래라고 그래. 다 도선 똑바 있나 안다지서 다 가지고 제바치에 미기셰바 기지 당보 통비기 신도티 미기셰바 기지 지바나 신도한테 기지 지루고 그래서 지상 미기셰바 기지 당보도 통화디기 기지 당보 통화기 신도한테다 미기셰바 기지 당보 지르도 그런 기지 당보 통화 신도한테 지루고 그래서 다 미기셰바 기지니바기도 기지니바데 살도 깨바레스 살도 깨도 코로나 통하기 유디 신동디야 살도 끼고레스 제가 기지니바기 통하기 신동디 기지 당보디기 통 미기셰바 기지 당보데 통요 말에 가서는 미기셰바 기지 당보디기 통하디 신동 기지 당보데 통고로 와. 다 신동의 기지니바디 미기셰바 기지니바디 통고로 와. 제가 미기셰바 기지 당보에 가서 신동 기지 니바데 주요 말에서 주매반상 신동 미기시가 기지 당보디기 신동 기지 당보 기지 니바데 통요 말에서 또요 말에서 나 미기시가 기지 니바디기 코롱의 통역이 신동디 코롱의 당보 통화래서 코롱 당보 또 말에서 지상고 제 말에도 와서 지상 또선 또 말은 뒤기면 니바디 니 당보도 또 와서지 거에 제일 또 와서 뒤기면 또 와서 그래서 코롱의 또역이 신동디 코롱기 당보 통화래서 제가 당보 그 또에 기지 신도디 니마 기지 당보데 또요 말했어 미기시베 기지 당보 또요 말해 미기시베 기지 니버 당보 통하래 제가 미기시베 기지 당 니버디 세마리도 와서 랑게 유디 살도 와래도 와 기지 당보도 또 살는 거 지스 또 와래면도 와서 또 와래면도 와서 하데니 제바치 이거래.
And others also have doubts about this definition. They would say, so we understand that the first moment that this tree is seen, that is a direct valid cognizer, and you saying that the second and subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers because they're no longer new. But there is a mistake here because the object changes momentarily. It's an impermanent object, and it changes moment by moment. So therefore, every moment of the cognizer realizing the object, it's realizing a different object, and therefore it continues to be realizing the object newly, because the object keeps changing momentarily. So this then is another doubt expressed about this definition.
이 덴바데스 결혼시에 되시고다. 미기 셰바 계지 당보디 신동 계지 당보 통도 미기 셰바 계지 당보 가도 신동 계지 당보데 가사와레스. 지다 신동 계지 니바데 미기 셰바 계지 당보디기 신동 계지 당보 통마도 신동 계지 니바데 통요 말레스. 지사다 미기 셰바 계지 니바디기 신동 계지 니바 당보 또바데 덴바데스. 이내하고 도슨 또바리바레스. 지상 도슨 또바세디 코스탈 세디 데네요 그런 게 또에게 당보 통화 잠라 곧 채말에 당보 통화라기 말해서 지상 도선 또 봐서도 김세 현다시야요 그래서 돈다 가가지고 그래서 내가 디시고다.
And those who assert this definition then, they will respond and say, well, actually what you say is correct. The object certainly does change momentarily. But this too doesn't mean, this isn't what we mean by our definition. We mean something different from what you are asserting here.
나 그런 그 도선 또바세 돈다데 가르시고서는 다 드니시고래 빼는 안 주기 사지식을 줘고네 다미 사지 줘야기 유유게 남가야 무엇이냐 미치겨 봤지 아주 당보 균에 내마 사지도 유균에 매게 미치겨와 미니여로 와다 다미 유유게 미디 참아나 신치샤고래 참아나 신치 다 유매간디 미디 지시나 신치 빼네 당아주 사지들에 비니 사지를 줘고 빼네 아주 지가 다데네 아주 벤도고 이면에 제 점점 가셔로와 다 점점 가지 미디 점점 줘고시 다 균에 유균에 매와있나 그런 당샤베나 간에서 줘고에 가와리데 그 줘균이 신 말에 지상 줘시 되는 딱달리도 말에 다 미규엔디기 튀네 튀 줘봐나 그 미규엔디 튀지 안님도 쇼하세네 그 튀도 튀 딱달리 두고 점점 딱달리 두고 제가 미규 메겐디기 점점 갈래 투바지 술을 라레고서네 당보 유기 미티겐들 라레고 그 튀바이나 안 딜레 두고래 그 마티바네 데 두고 제가 술을 라레고서는 유기 미딜 라레고레스 제가 라레고레스 디나시 다 체마다 지시세디 체마세 유당보 또한 지시디기 유디 또다 마도세디 술을 하리고서는 기지당 체마 당보딜 하리고레스 지상 체마 당보디기 또제 디기 온도 견제제 或또외바나 지시라고레스 지상 체마 당보딜 마되바제 그런 또 두고네 그런 체마 차리고레스 지상 그런 유 똑바들 체마 당보딜 인지미 될라 되제 될라 라레바제 유도 또고바 인자 콜레 지시라고 그래. 제가 또서 또 빌리 봐라고. 마 또서 또 빌리 봐. 세디 체마 당보 디기 또바 또네 될라 라레비 토네 니바디 또고바 인자 또서 또 봐라게. 또서 또 봐서 되는시라게 해서 다 혼도 된다라. 지시세 또서 또 봐서 체마 당보디 유도 또 봐제. 디기 또 비게 될라 라레네 또 봐래. 체마 당보디 또면은 기진이바디 또 투야 말에 이제 되네자 되네기 또선 또 봐야지 안 되네질라 그래야지다.
And what do those who assert this definition mean by it? Well, they would perhaps explain it through an analogy. If there are two people, and the one wants to visit somewhere they haven't been before, such as the museum in Bendigo, then they would have great difficulty finding somewhere they've never been before. So they would go with a friend who knows the museum well, and they would travel there. And of those two, the one who knows where the museum is and the other who doesn't, who would arrive first? It would be the one who has been there before, the one who has experience and has been there before. They would have to be the ones who arrive there first, because the other one has no clue where the museum is. So therefore, of the two, the guide arrives first, the tourist will arrive afterwards. So in dependence on relying on the guide, the tourist can realize what the guide already knows, what the guide has already realized. So this is similar to how our consciousnesses work. It's independence on an object initially being realized, independence on that first moment, that what has been realized can be realized. So there needs to be this sequence of a consciousness realizing something newly in order for consciousness to realize what has been realized.
제가 붐지 메시 계지 니바디기 붐바 또 바이나다 붐바 계지 니바 또 그래 또 바이나 붐지 메시 계지 당보디기 당보들라 라레디요 그래서 코 계지 당보디기 붐지 메시 계지 당보디기 붐바도 또 메나 계지 니바 가지 니바 숨바시바 가지레나 디기 붐바기네 또 말했어 제가 또 와디 당보들 라레요 그래서 제가 당보디기 또 바인자 다 붐바시 계지 니바 숨바시바 가지마 레나 붐바기지 당보 붐바기지 니바 숨바시바 또 찾아 아니 또 두고래 제가 당보들 라레야 바래 제가 계지 당보디 붐지 메시 계지 당보디기 붐바디 계지 당보 또 메나 다 되는 마 계지 니바 숨바 가지레나 붐바 또 두고 말했어 계지 당보디기 붐바 또 바 인자 아니 델라 때네 아니 붐바 마 계지 니바 숨발레도 거기 붐바 계지 니바 숨바 또 찾아 아니 델라 때네 라레시 또 바래 또 두고래 진짜 되네 인자 또 숨도 비리바세 되네 실라기 해야지다.
Just like then the initial illustration given, when a vase is perceived by a sense direct perceiver, there is that first moment of valid cognition. And that first moment is an essential prerequisite for there to be the second and subsequent moments. The second and subsequent moments can only come about independent on that prior first moment. Without the first moment, the second moments and so forth cannot follow. So therefore, a subsequent cognizer is a knower, an awareness that realizes what has already been realized. So we've looked at then the entity of subsequent cognition. Now it's divisions: directly perceiving, conceptual, and subsequent cognizers that are neither of these two.
지상 똑같이 라요야 직 제바키지 니바데 똑같이 책으로 지상 당 무슨 지시다 똑같이 dinyi kaya mambe chishe sumsede yongwayade tsema de la ngosum tsema da jesu be tsema ni yobaza deni chishe de ni yongruwa.
Earlier when we started well, we were in last year and we looked at that how valid cognizers can be divided. We had divided to direct valid cognizers and inferential valid cognizers. So that has similarity with the divisions that we see here of subsequent cognizers. Directly perceiving subsequent cognizers are the subsequent cognizers of direct valid cognizers, and their inferential valid cognizers, their subsequent cognitions are the second division, conceptual subsequent cognizers. So the first is direct, the second is conceptual.
ane migi wangpyo ngosum kasa wangpyo ngosum yigi ngosum rari ngosum naju ngosum chi hiyoro wada tsema diliya je wangpyo ngosum yi tsema yigi ngosum tsema rari ngosum naju ngosum tsema hiyo ba yanza ta jishi diliya wangpyo ngosum tsema kiji nipa sumba dike jishi chawanza wangpyo ngosum yi jishi saja ta yigi ngosum yi jishi la de yigi ngosum tsema kiji nipa sumba tsema je dangbo de tsema je yudo be yigi ngosum dangbo de tsema je dene kiji nipa sumba dike chasa yigi ngosum jishi chawanza 다 라링 오스미 지시에 라면도 다 라링 오스 유 당보도 비셰바 냠송이 라리끼지 당보디 참아제 근데 네 라리끼지 이버 숨바 차사 라링 오스미 지시에 차고 다 나중 오스미 시디 나중 참아데 안쪽에 이니 다음에 봐 되는 오스미 당보도 비 오스미 당보도 비 오스미 참아디 다 나중 오스미 참아제 데네 나중 오스미 기 차외질라 계지 이버 숨베 시버 가질레나 된마 난 지시 나중 오스미 지시에 차고 지사 디네 자 원병 오스미 지시에 이중 오스미 지시에 라링 오스미 나중 오스미 지시에 세디 Geshe and Dini, there's a kind of mind being Geshe said, Geshe Tela, and also me Geshe Tel, Castle, Geshe Tel, Nine Sharpua.
Directly perceiving subsequent cognizers are further subdivided into 5. So of these 5 subdivisions we have listed here, the first 4 we all know well from when we looked at direct perception. So when we looked at direct perception, we saw it had 4 divisions: sense, mental, self-knowing, and yogic. And within those 4 divisions of direct perception, there were, in most cases, 3 subdivisions, and with yogic, 2. But each of the direct perceivers had amongst its divisions, had the second division, which was subsequent cognition. So what we looked at on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th page of our text, we now see summarized here. Those types of subsequent cognizers relating to the different direct perceivers. So we see the first division, directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are sense direct perceivers. So that was on page 3. Directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are mental direct perceivers. That was on page 4, as was directly perceiving cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers. So these then refer to, we had the first moment of a sense direct perceiver apprehending a form, and the second and subsequent moments of that sense direct perceiver are subsequent cognizers, and that we have here. The same with mental direct perception and the self-knower. The first moments of a self-knower is a direct perception, the subsequent cognizers, the subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers. And likewise then, when we looked at yogic direct perceivers on page 5, the second division there were directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers. So for example, the yogic direct perceiver that is realizing selflessness of persons, the very first moment is a direct valid cognizer. The second and subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers. In particular, directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers. So these are the first 4, and the 5th division then of directly perceiving subsequent cognizers are those which are none of these above 4. And then immediately below we see the illustrations of these, which are again quite clear. The illustration of a directly perceiving subsequent cognizer, that is a sense direct perceiver, is, for example, the second moment of a sense direct perceiver apprehending blue. The first moment is a sense direct perceiver, sense direct valid cognizer apprehending blue, and the second and subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers. And here we could, in this 1.1, we could actually, if we wanted to be very particular, have 5 subdivisions there, one relating to each of the 5 sense direct perceivers. That of the eye sense direct perceiver, the ear, nose, smell, taste, and touch. So we could have 5 subdivisions here within the first point. The illustration then of a directly perceiving subsequent cognizer, that is a mental direct perceiver, is, for example, the second moment of a clairvoyant knowing another's mind. The first moment is a mental direct valid cognizer. The second and subsequent moments of a clairvoyant knowing another's mind are subsequent cognizers.
다 라링 오숨기 지시되라 가르쳐다 미기 셰바 년소녀의 라링 오숨기 니바 따고 세데 미기 셰바 년소녀의 라링 기지 당보디 세마되지 되네 나 기지 니바디게 안에 지시 있어요.
Likewise with the third, an illustration of a directly perceiving subsequent cognizer, that is the self-knowing direct perceiver, is the second moment of a self-knowing direct perceiver experiencing, for example, an eye consciousness.
단 나중 오숨기 나 지시되라 가르쳐서네 통람 발치 말랑 기지 니바 세데 당한 저기 나중 오숨 당보기도 통람 발치 말람세요. 통람 발치 말람세 다디 기지 당보데 참아자 된 통람 발치 말랑 기지 니바데
And similarly with the fourth one, directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers are, for example, the second and subsequent moments of an uninterrupted path on the path of seeing.
개발 제겐디 당한 저기 디르와 나도 동아 용화 제겐디 녀모바디 뭐 녀모바시고라 제가 당한 야 탈바다 탐지 김벽고 봐 토예지 바도 수식으로 쓰는 아주 녀모바 다세 마리바 데수기 바도 시고로와 제가 바도 제제 야 탈바 토야라 안는마 이디지고로와 나도 디기 주야기 바셰도 수식으로 녀모바 디지고 제가 통람 바셰 말람세지 파 당보 끼에도 다디 녀몽기 녀보 녀몽 빠야게 고디 되는 주고다. 세상 안쪽에 탈바다 탐지 캠에 토야라 바도 제게게 디 메버서야게 고디는 주고요 봐. 이제 녀보디 제 고주바 이제 안데 바시 말람라고 이겼을 때죠.
네, 고네데 담아데 녀보기 콜라데 양카스 혼나까?
아주 탈바다 탐지 캠에 토발라 바도 제게는 수기고를 지고서 녀몽고 바도 지고로 와. 다시 말이 바다 녀몽고기 디기 아주 탈바 탐지 캠에 고바 토투고 말. 먼저 띵기 대화 토해야 돼야 수이 바도 지고선 녀모바디 기에제 아니 녀모바디기 바도 제제 아주 디기도 좀 투고 말아. 제가 디네자 나중에 당보 토요도 녀모보 빠야 그 고주고를 녀모 기에게 녀모 빠야게 녀모 무슨 녀모디 기에게 고주고로 와. 고주여도 디네자 고디네 주바인자 안데 바치 메람 세디 당아주 타바 타바라 바치 말란 바치디 메버스에게 람디레스 고주고레스 메버스에게 람 세지 고고레 바치 메람세.
So the first moment on the path of seeing, one that achieves an uninterrupted path, and this then is a direct, valid, a yogic direct valid cognizer. The second and subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers. So here, this is the point where one becomes an Arya being and is actually eliminating the first level or the coarsest level of the afflictions through the yogic direct perceiver realizing selflessness. So this term that's translated as an uninterrupted path can be translated as a path without hindrance, a path with no hindrance. That would be more literal. And the purpose, so if we translate this then more literally as a path without hindrance, it means that because of the application of the antidote to the hindrances, there are no hindrances at that path. Which means that through the application of the antidote, which is the wisdom realizing selflessness, there is no hindrance, with the hindrance being the afflicted minds. And this is because now we're referring to the path within the continuum of an Arya being, a noble being. So they have the wisdom realizing selflessness as a yogic direct perceiver. And therefore, this is a path without hindrance.
가sak 원병 원숨이 제시 이용 원숨 제시 라령 원숨 제 나중 원숨 제시 시시 대시버 가야 많이 비 원숨이 제시에서 저러와 네가래라고서는 원숨 기지 이바데서 원숨 기지 담보 코로나 참아래 당 원숨 기지 이바디 다 디나네 디시 가야 말레스 디치시 제시에 되네 이용 원숨이 제시에 말 원병 원숨 제시에 말에 이용 원숨 제시에 말 라령 원숨 제시에 말에 나중 원숨 제시에 말레스 지난 원숨 기지 이바사야 돼 디시보 가야만 비치시디 무슨 기지 이바들이 예시네.
You see here, so there's first 4 divisions of directly perceiving subsequent cognizers. We have some familiarity with them when we looked at them last year. Now the 5th division is a little surprising, directly perceiving subsequent cognizers that are none of these 4. So this it just refers to the subsequent cognizer of direct perception. So where it's not specified which type of direct perceiver, its subsequent cognizer would be none of these 4.
지다당 저 모숨 끼지 당보라나 지 모숨라디 지바데와 지당바로와 근데 미랍네 야가미에 말에 오스트레일리아 말에 에리미 말에 미세데 미나로야 차상주디요와 지나시 당 모숨라에도 모숨 끼지 당보랍데 모숨 끼지 당보나리아 와병 모숨 끼지 당보여라 이용 모숨 끼지 당보여 라령 모숨 끼지 당보여 나중 모숨 끼지 당보여 시가여와 제사당 모숨 끼지 당보디 세마리베스는 세마리에스 코스 유 당보도 오레스 가르엘람네 와병 모숨 세마리베스네 디 말에 디나리 이용 모숨 나라령 차사여레 제사 모숨 끼지 당보디 세마리데 예와치나네 디시나데 가야 추고 말에서 그 시나 말에서 디나신다 모숨 끼지니 바데 지시레데 이나 지시레데 이나 디시나데 와병 모숨 지시에 말에 가선 디나라 이용 모숨 끼지니 바여레스 제사 지산바디 샤요 제사 지산바디 모숨 끼지 당보디야 세마레데 세마 시시베나데 와병 모숨 세마 말에 라르고 모숨 나중 모숨 세마 말이 이용 세마 말에서 샤야 디나신 모숨 끼지니 바디 지시레데 와병 모숨 지시에다 말에 이용 모숨 지시에 말 라르고 모숨 나중 지시에 말에서 제사디 가야 말에서 디시나데 가야 말에서 시가
The term, the consciousness that is a direct perceiver. So if we hear about a direct perceiver or direct perception, and we know that there are 4 divisions to it, we all say, well, okay, you're talking about direct perception, we clearly are talking in general, because which of the 4 direct perceivers are you talking about? Because it's not clear when you just say direct perceiver. So likewise, if we talk about human beings, we're talking about human beings. But there's no, from that statement, it's not clear which division of human being we're talking about. Are we talking about Australians? Are we talking about Indians? Are we talking about Americans? It's not clear from just stating human being. So when we talk about a direct perceiver, and there's no reference to which of those 4 it refers to, it will still have a subsequent cognizer. But if you're not sure which of those, which direct perceiver one is referring to, where do you place that subsequent cognizer? Because if someone says the second moment of a direct perceiver is the subsequent cognizer, and you see that there are only 4 divisions of subsequent cognizer, you can't place it in sense or mental or self-knowing or yogic, because you don't know which direct perceiver it refers to. Hence, there is the 5th division included here.
디나시 세마 끼지 당보라네 세마 끼지 당보디 유토피기 끼지 당보디 세마를 찾아와 대디 무슨 세마르베 지수베 세마르라네 니가 말해 그래서 유토베 세마 끼지 당보나래 지수베 세마 끼지 당보야 여러 무슨 끼지 끼 당보야 여러 제가 세마 끼지 당보라나 세마레데 무슨 세마나 지수베 세마 가래라네 니가 말해 니게 집어들이 했어와다 디나시 세마 끼지 니바랍나 세마 끼지 니바데 지시래 안에 무슨 지시레베스네 말에 지수법에 지시 가서 똑바 지시레베란 똑바 지시야 말에 무슨 지시야 말에 참마 기진이바디 지시레데 똑바 지시야 말에 무슨 지시야 말에서 대시 당보들레디도와 지시레 얘는 무슨 지시나 똑바 지시 니 대니 가야만 비 지시세 저로와 진짜 디니 가야만 비 지시세데 가르쳐고서는 참마 기진이바데 참마 기진이바랍나 지시레데 나 똑바 지시야 말에 무슨 지시야 말에 참마 기진이바 나한테라 똑바 지시 무슨 지시 니가 요래서
When we look immediately above this into the divisions of subsequent cognizers, we see that there are 3. So we mentioned the first 2, the first being directly perceiving subsequent cognizers, and the second being conceptual subsequent cognizers. So then what is the 3rd division here? So the first 2 divisions refers to direct valid cognizers and inferential valid cognizers, their second moments. The 3rd division here refers to valid cognizer itself, Because just like direct perceiver has 4 divisions, and without stating which direct perceiver one is referring to, one cannot know. Likewise, valid cognition has the 2 divisions of direct and inferential. So, valid cognizers, the second and subsequent moment of a valid cognizer is a subsequent cognizer stating that, where does that type of subsequent cognizer fall? Because it hasn't been said whether it's a directly perceiving cognizer or a conceptual cognizer. So therefore, we have the third division here, for when the subsequent cognition of a valid cognizer, as opposed to a direct or inferential valid cognizer.
단 대지 아주 원숨 지시에다 똑같이 지시나네 원숨 지시에 차지 다 똑같이 지시해 똑같이 지시들 릭니 용거래 원숨이 장비기 똑같이 지시다 아니 제박의 장비 똑같이 지시해서 니 차거래.
So now further moving down to of the 3 divisions of subsequent cognizers, we've looked at the first, we come to the second, and subdivisions of 2 conceptual subsequent cognizers. Conceptual subsequent cognizers that are induced by direct perceivers, and conceptual subsequent cognizers that are induced by inferential cognizers.
아당 원숨이 장비기 똑같이 지시하려면도 다 디 똑같이 지니바 해체고 말. 대신 안쪽에 참말이 당보도 되는 기지니바 지시하라고. 당 원숨이 장비 똑같이 지시하려데 그 똑같이 지시 그런 기지 당보래. 이내도 그 지시 차별. 다 가르쳐도 원숭이 담비 지시라는 천지 가르쳐서 문제 원이 담비 원봉이 빙이시 된된라기도 와. 그래서 담보아서 도스진에 지게 잘아주 원보 잘아 메도라스만 원보시 통하지. 원보디 미기 셰비 또 차로 와. 미기 셰비 또 한지 원보디 또게 참바디 가서래. 원보 무슨 참아라 와. 다디 또 세비 제량도 미숨 제단 제 다른 거 지도나 가오도네 원보디 마송서 조베네 원보디 디지디네 원보디 두 셈비 템바치기가 와. 디 템바디 지시에 디 수유 장바르선 되기 미기 원숨비 원보 통되기 미기 셰바디게 장하는 게 말이야. 지선 될 원보 뇌비기 뇌시라고. 지선 디 그런 게 원보 도고 내가 참아 말이야. 그래서는 그런 게 원보 대 떠야디 술라리여선 되지 미기 원보 원숨디기 라디오. 디기 원보 또 봐인자 그 원보디 또 두고 그래. 되지 원보 셰바디 원보 또 매나 그에 원보 전투고 말이야. 지선 대대 원보 템비 전시 그런 당보제 와래 그런 거 원보도 당보 통와래 이내야 그 지시래. 그래서 대시 그런 원보 또에게 술라리여선 원보 통이 원시되라 라리디로 봐. 지선 디네에서 그 똑바퀴 진입아 가야 말해 돼. 이내야 그 지시래. 그래서 대장 원지 원문이 잡히게 원봉이 병에시 되어야 돼.
근데 똑바퀴 니파 말해.
똑바퀴 진입아네 대시 당보 똑바퀴 당보지. 근데 똑바퀴 진입아라. 네 말에 그 똑바퀴랑 당보랑 차대. 이내 그 지시래.
We have an illustration then here of the first type, a factory concordant ascertaining consciousness, ascertaining blue that is induced by a sense-direct perceiver apprehending blue. That's quite a mouthful, but what it means is, let's say one sees a blue-colored flower. So the first moment of seeing the blue-colored flower is a sense-direct valid cognizer, seeing this blue flower. Then one walks away and remembers that flower, so recalls that flower. And that recalling of what one has seen is an illustration of a conceptual subsequent cognizer that is induced by a direct perceiver. So this is a memory consciousness, so it's a conceptual cognizer. And it is subsequent, but it is not subsequent to a preceding moment of a conceptual cognizer. It hasn't been induced by a conceptual cognizer, but rather a sense direct perceiver. So therefore, or a direct perceiver rather, sorry. So therefore, this is an illustration of a conceptual subsequent cognizer induced by a direct perceiver. And again, it's where one has seen something, for example, seen something, and later recalls it. And so this recollection is conceptual, but what induced this conceptual consciousness, which is the memory consciousness, is the preceding direct perceiver.
And then you get down to Mosumbi, Jambi, Geshe, Mongolian, open the Taro, she was down over in Gichelia, or the shady bed in the Abudus Metehead, and then on to Jalaro in Calaro and Gichelia, and didn't to have Mongolian, this has not Geshe.
And this is something we have, this division we utilize a lot, or it arises often. If we thinking about something that we've heard, we may think, oh, that was a beautiful piece of music, or I really enjoyed what I heard there. So here, this is an illustration of a conceptual subsequent cognizer induced by direct perceiver. Here it was an auditory direct valid cognizer, later auditory direct perceiver, and later one gives rise to a memory consciousness. And this is an illustration of that similar to here. Likewise, if we recall something that we've eaten and recall what it tasted like, this too is an illustration of a conceptual subsequent cognizer, but is induced by a direct perceiver.
Topachi Shedi, Jebagi Tambi, Topachi Shella, Dangan Yu Dambo, Gumsen Samta, Jebache, the Yu Dambo, Topi, Samadi, Jeba Samache, that the Nigi, Gijiniba Sumba Nadi, that Geshe Charo, that is what Jebagi Tambi Geshe, Carson, this Dambo, Topi, Topaki, Dambo Samaji, Digi, Gijiniba Sumba Charo. The Jimosumi Tambi Geshe said, Monsumi, Gijiniba Chiba Sumba Kaimare, or Topa Hosar, the Jeba Inaya, or Geshe Charo. That the Jeba de Dambo thoughts and decorum getting you Sumba Muti Droidi, that's getting you somebody again, and then Geshe. That is so Jeba Getampigi, Geshe Sachakarova.
The second, conceptual subsequent cognizers are induced by an inferential cognizer. So the difference between the two is the one conceptual subsequent cognizer was induced by direct perception, and the second here is by inferential cognition. Here, the person will have been reflecting on something using analysis and have come to a realization, an inferential valid cognition on that object. And then the second moment of that inferential valid cognizer is a subsequent cognizer. So this is quite straightforward. You first realize an object through analysis, and it's an inferential valid cognition. Its second and subsequent moments are then this division of conceptual subsequent cognizer. The first division is a little bit more complicated in that from for example, a direct perceiver that is a sense direct perceiver, for example, one will have a realization of the object, and then one will have a variety of subsequent cognizers immediately after perhaps, for example, seeing the object. So this would be what we have here as 1.1. You first have the sense direct perceiver, and then immediately you have the subsequent cognizers that follow. Later, when you recall the object, then those subsequent cognizers are now an illustration of 2.1. So that's a little bit more complex. 2.2 is quite straightforward. You have an inferential valid cognition, and immediately it's followed by second and subsequent moments, which are an illustration here.
All right, that is that Geshe said, "The Penitenju Badam, and the Cabar Hako, the Penitenju Bigi, Geshe said, you go to Ina, Geshe said, or Temari, or Kitchen Chasan Temari Mato, and the Casore, Kitchen Yubet Chasan Temari Mato, Tema Mares, Lego Marchesa, and the Cabar Shinguedi, Tenju Bigi, Tema said, you do Toba, Tobi Ribo, you Toba Horon, Tobi Ribetella, Nalotella Temas, you Toba, Milua de la Temas, Milu Temi Tinja, Milua Temas. Start the Milu Ribas at Sama killing and this Suresana, Jeramawadan, Casor, the day that Jeramawadan, Dodevala Sobata, and then Ranjuba Semzaba conjugata, start the Milua said, start the Milua said. That is Ripa said Jagan to Jagan, that Jeramawadan, Casa Dodebata, Semzabada, Kumaranjuba Ribasja. 다 이미 다 제라마위게 리바요를 수야요를 니가요를 니가요를 해야 돼. 어두스 캐버 하고 해야 돼. 직시. 다다 제바 지시에서도 다 제람 도대바다 안에 라주바다 안에 셈셈비기 지시에 라빈 도슨 도비 리바 세샤도 도슨 도비 리바 세데 간치 라구리에서네 다 지시에서디 그런게 당보 도바다 니바 도바 기시메바시 그런 유도바디 세망아마지게 도바라 라레바디 텔라테나 하고 디 세망아마지게 도메나 그런 또 통메바 안데니 진짜 콜 도슨 도바세 데니실 지시에서디 리바 도슨 도바세 데니 무슨 거래 세대가 저게 캬바라 치아 신고해야지 당은 저기 들이 다 지시기 내수셔야지 이게 소차거와
We conclude here then looking at subsequent cognizers. Now just to then briefly summarize what we looked at today, then maybe there are two key points to take away. The first is it's useful to understand the different presentations or assertions by various Buddhist philosophers. So those who are ascribed to the tenets of Sautrantika, Chittamatra, and Svatrantika assert the definition as we see it here. A knower that realizes what has already been realized. The Vaibhashika, they would not include the term knower because they also believe that a sense power can realize an object. So therefore, they have that difference. But then the Prasangika, they don't assert the division of subsequent cognition at all. Their sevenfold presentation of Lorig is actually a sixfold presentation because they say that if a knower realizes an object or if a knower is incontrovertible with regard to its object, then it is a valid cognizer. There is no need to talk about subsequent cognition. So that's the one point to take away, the different understandings according to different Buddhist philosophical traditions. And then the second is, in terms of this definition here, what is meant by this definition is that in order for a subsequent cognizer to arise, the object has to have been realized by a preceding valid cognizer, needs to have been realized already by preceding moments of valid cognition, because independent on that will the subsequent cognizer arise. Without that preceding moment, there can be no subsequent cognition.
데니기 야와치 캬바시에데 만주기 tumda 소소소게 아니 야와이 바데 티티 tumda 티티 켈리바세데 만주기 하고데 데라 몽베 마릭바데 도루 마릭바 그래서 나디 하 먹거나 디케바 하 먹거나 가브리엘야 아니 밀루 리바라 까 밀루아세 가세는 수티에 세마레시데 다 고톰야게 냐가 구여바 데니자 당한주기 데니기 캬바시에데 데니기 tumda 소식수 되서 임바데 세보 하고 하데데 몽바시가 되지 마하 먹거나 몽바차로 몽바차로 제가 데니 사고도 어디 탱유베 되다래 이 장유베 되다 이 제라모베 되다래서 세보 tumda 소식 되어봐 하고 해도 몽바세로 거라 뭔가 마신바 징매바 수고로 마신비 균 징매바 마신 몽바도 균로 와 제가 디 매바 수고로 와 제가 몽바세로 와.
And again, I really do believe that it's important that one understands the differences between the Buddhist philosophical traditions, because as one develops knowledge, one reduces one's ignorance in terms of what one doesn't know. The objects that are unknown to us start to be reduced. But equally, or perhaps more importantly, when one hears a teaching or reads a text or talks to someone, when they say something that is a little unusual, one will understand where it fits into the Buddhist tradition and will not be surprised or affronted, perhaps, by what is being presented. So if we're speaking to someone or reading something and we hear and they assert that form can realize, this may sound very strange to us. It's not usually what we hear. But if we are educated, we'll know this is a Buddhist view, and it's a view asserted by those who are Vaibhashikas. So therefore, it helps, as we increase our understanding, we reduce our ignorance of not knowing, this aids our understanding of the Buddha Dharma. We know that when we're receiving a teaching, what context it is being presented in, and that will aid our understanding of that teaching. And similarly, in accordance with the aspiration of the Mahayana, the greater our knowledge, then the more benefit we can be to others. Just like the Buddha, who taught in accordance with the needs of beings. When we are talking to others, we can present the Dharma in accordance with their personalities better if we have a greater education. And we can talk to others then in a way that they can relate to, that they can accept. And what we would be saying is not something that we're making up, but it is in accordance with the Buddha Dharma when we know well the different philosophical presentations. And we can conclude here for this morning. We'll continue this afternoon with the presentation on correct assumption. If you have some questions, then we still have some time, so please do ask. Alan.
We're studying Lorig, so the two words, lo and rig. But on the other hand, early in the text we said that lo and rig are the same, synonyms as Dorje. So what is the difference between lo and rig? Why don't we just call the text lo? Why don't we call it rig?
Yes. Okay. So the text is called Lorig, and we've heard that these are synonymous, so why do we have both names in the title then? Why not just have the one? Then Lorig Changyare. Then the Lo Dang Rigpa. In Lo Dang Rigpa consultant secret. Then Kariteni Deputy Lorig Ming Tagiare. Kariteni also Lo Segerepe Yamane. Rigpa Segerepe.
Lorig Lamna Siki Ninche or Lo Lobsang Dorje Siki Nincho. New down Lorig the Loy or Kishio. Lo Selabjana di Dandaro said, Tignimura measure. Lorig Ladida, Lodisha, Logipa, you do Rig said, your topa said, Logi, Lo said, Lodigi Java Harrison, you Rigpa, you topa said. Chesna Denigi, Lo, you
Kunajitama.
Rig Labna, Lodipa, topa level. Chesna Loda Rigpa, Lorig Dandachiba Rede. In Lo said you Korongo Moe Channel means that Rig said you Korongo Javachi means that. Chesada, the name said, Lo said Chibusha said, Siki Nimura may check out. That's a Lo Rig left the Siki to Nimayu word. The name called Koyalia, I think, day with this channel that Lorig said.
What your doubt is certainly a valid doubt. The reason, though, that the text is called Lorig is so as to make the entity of maybe we can say consciousness clearer, in that this text is discussing awareness that knows its objects. So it's bringing out these differing aspects, maybe we can put it like that. So if the text was just called awareness or just called knowers, then it wouldn't sound so beautiful. Yeah. But moreover, it wouldn't make the entity of what is being discussed, or the essence perhaps of what is being discussed, so clear. And that is awarenesses that know, awarenesses that realize. This is what is being is discussed, hence both names are in the title. Jeannie?
I'm just trying to get my understanding right on the word realise. So when you first say I sense perceiver, see something, and the subsequent is, but is it that you actually know what the thing is? Like if you see, for me the word realised is when you see it and you get what it is.
Yes.
But you could see something and not know what it is, so it's not actually realised, but I'm just a bit confused.
Yeah.
About that word.
So the word realize comes up a lot. What does it mean? Because as I would assume realize means is when you, for example, see something and you know with clarity, you know with certainty what it is, then you've realized it. If there's still uncertainty, you are yet to realize it.
Yeah, so then how does the subsequent?
So how does subsequent cognition fit in with that? Okay. Then he tokpa de kola de la karire. Yinge chapachana tokpa dan bilo de ni de la karire. Then nge samna nge pena nge chik toktu tokpa chikyang mindu de karina mina selpa hakona. Then nge yulde tokso. Then yine de dang dene chese java kariyare.
Tokpa lamne yude hako khona tokpa rwa ti di de jishe la de di rwa ma zo ngachi jishe rwa chi sa ngachi dangbo hako de chema ti nibe de jishe la rwa ko de cha sawa de jishe she ani di rwa de ki niba cha de ani jishe she rwa ni niga ge yu tokpa chi ba le ko ngachi ma cho ji di ge sawa se 난 디마제 지시 디기 그런 유도야 될 수로 라리고 그래서 체마디기 또 받을 라리고 될 라리 체마고 유도바디 셴을 라리 기시말 그런 유도디요. 나 지시니 유도가 진과래 돼 있네요. 그 지시 디시디 그 또한에 또 있는 진과 지지 찍네디래 찍네 그런 또 바디 유기지 당보 체마도 또 받을 콜라 라리 봐 인자 지시래서 이제 어디로
It really is, so in terms of subsequent and non-subsequent, it's really about sequence or progression. This first moment and all then the subsequent moments, the second and subsequent. That is really all that subsequent cognizers refer to. Just this passing of moments of time. In terms of whether the object is realized or not, it's like you say, when you've for example, seen the object with great clarity and no lack of certainty, the object is realized. And the subsequent moments to that the object remains realized. No lack of clarity has snuck in. But those moments are now no longer new. It's not that first moment. So therefore, it's just divided into subsequent. So it's just a division of time, we could maybe say it like that, yeah? But in terms of realized, we have that first moment, which is a direct valid cognizer, and thereafter we have direct perceivers, which are now no longer direct valid cognizers, but those direct perceivers are subsequent cognizers. It just refers to a passage of time, but the object remains realized. Okay? Tanya?
This is something that I'm having trouble with, and it might be just because I'm so literal with the translation. But a non-valid consciousness is a knower that is not newly incontrovertible. And then you mentioned that you could also say that it's a knower that is not new and not incontrovertible. The problem I'm having is that not newly incontrovertible is quite different from not new and not incontrovertible, because newly is nothing.
Yeah. I don't know why it's translated in the way that it is. So, whereas what I put in, and I inserted the word both. Both isn't in the Tibetan at all. So I know that it's not both new and incontrovertible, because that, to my understanding, hits the meaning it presents the meaning clearly, that these qualities of new and incontrovertible both are required. So how they came to newly, I don't know. I've always been confused by it. Hence, I'd rather use something that I think presents the meaning. Because as you ask me now, why newly, I don't know. I have no idea why it's there. The person who translated this is with no sense of fake humility. She's much more intelligent than I am. She will have a reason, but I cannot see what it is, because it is different. So to me, the real meaning here is a knower that is not both new and incontrovertible. And that fits with the 5 divisions, because of those 5 divisions, none of them are both new and incontrovertible. They are either new or they're incontrovertible, but not both.